on Skarner.
Yep.
And Ashe Seraphine is available, so I think that the DN Supers are probably just going to pick it.
Yeah, they went for the Nautilus ban instead, which, you know, fair enough. We've seen the interactions of Nautilus and Bard's rotund hitbox, but Ashe Seraphine available is just going to be grabbed up by the DN Supers. And now Keen's pick, you have strong frontline with the Skarner, you have a lot of control of your composition. You have a lot of liberty to choose what you want here. Even something like a Jace could make sense in this situation with that long-range poke.
Yeah, could be something that Keen could go towards. Imagine if he was allowed to have fun. And this looks like a champion that he could have some fun on. The Ambessa has been an answer to the Rumble that people have been dabbling with for a while. Hasn't found all that much success, but more recently, the Ambessa feels a bit better.
Yeah.
Has the Ghost and does not have a teleport available. Ruler down to about 200 health as Duro with a little bit of an angle here, but doesn't find the Cosmic Binding, just electrocutes Doctor momentarily, who does find Canyon making his way in. That's a crash into the wall. First blood over to Ruler, and the second one over to Canyon. And already Gen.G find themselves 1.5k ahead, wanting to promote their slingshot sale that they had going on, as the arrow is going to be fired not from a slingshot, but from a bow. And Ruler is just going to watch it go by. We do have now Canyon joining in. Pyosik will be put into position, but does manage to land the kick, but the Impale was already there. Canyon looking to try and vacate the situation, but Doctom is layering down the damage, and that is Canyon falling down. DNS, they find one back.
Catching Peter, not able to follow up on him, and DNS able to turn around the play. Still a big deficit in the bot lane, but
oh dear.
Definitely helps a bit. Oh.
Flash out of the public execution. Good positioning there for Keen, as Duro is going to start burning. Yoshik moves over. Gets some information here as the equalizer gets flashed on top of here by Duro. Not exactly the best, but Canyon just going to catch Pyosik and look to try and get some revenge. Dudu is over there though, and Peter is going to show up. A 3 versus 3 now, as Gen.G's health bars are looking a little worse for wear. Keen is going to move on over though, and there's the Impale. Max range onto this Rumble, and then the Cosmic Binding to follow up. Now we've got a whole bunch of buttons being pressed as the mid laners turn up. Some circles being put onto the ground. As where did Peter go? He sort of just popped like a balloon, as the arrow is going to connect onto Duro, who is taking a lot of punishment. As Chovy's going to show up, there is the wall, and there is the stun. I don't know whether this dive is going to be successful, but our Closer is still in a whole lot of trouble as Keen is going to push the wave in.
Look, they're going to just go over the wall.
Oh no, Duro is, yeah, he's going to go over the wall. Canyon goes over his own way as the stun comes in, and Duro is going to pick it up. Does die to the turret, but it's going to be just an execution, as now underneath the turret is Ruler.
Message here. Closer has no flash, and they might look for him.
Ooh, that was cute. Tempered Fate is going to come on through. He is in the bush, but Canyon is going to move on over. There's the Impale, just going to line up onto Closer, and he doesn't have his flash, so he is very, very dead. Gen.G are just kind of behind turrets at 13 minutes. The combo looks pretty good, and also Duro is everywhere, potentially. Yeah, Closer is not allowed to be here. He got that information last time he wasn't allowed to be here about 2.5 minutes ago. He's going to look to try and get himself out of this, but it's not going to work, as Chovy gets the interrupt, and that is Canyon just going places. But why? Why did we get... Why did we replay that?
Just to prove that it happened.
It almost felt like BM. Oh no. All right, well, Dudu took a turret shot, but Duro being there was the biggest problem. And Duro is still there.
This game right now is feeling more of a fight between Canyon and Duro, the POM, than a fight between DNS and Gen.G, because DNS is just struggling.
Yeah, and now Dudu's tower is going to stop working. Chovy is going to pick up another kill as he gets a very comfortable stun onto the Rumble. And look at that flash cooldown. These turrets, if they would like to, only one plate left in this mid lane, as there is
nice flash.
Great flash from Duro. Down from these turrets on DNS's side, they are able to deal with the minion wave, but this is already a pretty ridiculous siege set up by Gen.G as the public execution gets a flash out of Doctom. That is going to make this Ashe very susceptible.
game state is a good one. So.
How is the game state?
Not good. Not very good.
How is it for Keen? It's also not looking fantastic here as he doesn't have his ultimate. He is pretty tanky, but there is a lot of damage coming out from Dr. as Keen does manage to make it into the Tempered Fade. There's the Encore, but it's flushed, and Keen stays alive, takes down the Ash. Oh my goodness, Closer is going to try and get this kill, but it's another shield to come through from Keen, and Closer just loses interest. He flashes out of the way. Duro might be the one going down, but Keen is going to remain alive. He's going to go back in, of course he is, and then he dies. He's like, you guys, you deserve this. We've upped it a notch.
Yes.
Oh, one notch has been gained. Maybe another notch available here as Ruler is going to get harpooned and likely taken down in trade for this turret. There he goes.
You know what? They've been looking for the picks.
Easy. All right, there's some positivity there. We'll check back in a minute's time. As Tempered Fate is not going to quite connect onto the targets, but Keen finds a public execution onto Peter the Encore. I don't really want to hear it again, to be perfectly honest. As Chovy walls them off, Closer is not allowed to lead via the jungle, and now Dudu has to stand and fight, but he's surrounded by Genji players. Ruler brought his friends this time, and the stun connects from Chovy's Anivia, and that will be the end of the Rumble. That ace in the hole was pretty ambitious there from Ruler wanting to take that kill. As Genji, they're going to just walk on over towards the Baron.
Okay, well,
Arrow, just barely. Chovy flapping pretty quickly here as Pyosik comes on over to check in on his ex-teammate, and he just gets walled off. He can traverse the walls, though, with a resonating strike, but going into 4 people alone is not something that he really wants to do, as Keen is going to find him and look to take him down. Another ace in the hole comes through, and Keen will let him live.
They might find a pick on a Duro here.
All right, that might help get them out of Doomed. Let's see whether they can make it happen. He is way tankier than he has any right to be, as the Tempered Fate is going to connect to try and interrupt the Realm Warp. That is going to allow Canyon to get on over here, but the rest of his teammates aren't quite around. However, he is somewhat immune to damage. Gets the crash into the wall onto Pyosik. He gets over the wall from Chovy as the Impale is going to go wide. The net fails from Ruler, and he doesn't have a flash to join the fight. Now you've got Chovy being brought down to the egg, and we are escaping to... Maybe we're going to be staying in Doom. Keen is kind of just eliminating the base, but Canyon might be going down. Dr. is going to find him, and that's a kill. Over to Closer. 3 are on the floor now for Genji. DNS, they're making their way back into this game.
That was a lot of gold going over to DNS. Some big blunders there. Oh!
Yeah, Rune Prison comes on through. Dr. is flashing forward onto Ruler, and he will be able to claim another one.
Towards his teammates.
That was very similar to the Arrow. What is it with that part of the map and just weird uses of ultimates? As the Equalizer comes down, that will just deter them for the moment, as the wall is going to be set up there as well. Dudu down to about 50%. That is a decent Encore, and Canyon in a lot of trouble. Is able to get himself to relative safety. Is the public execution not quite going to work, but Keen still has a bunch of extra buttons. Closer is going to go down, you have to think, and Ruler is going to claim it.
It's feeling more competitive.
Yep, it's a step up. Absolutely, and you can see here, Struggle Street is undulating in the gold graph. We're going to see an Impale, though, onto Dudu. He's going to get pulled back. The wall is going to keep him in position for a while, and the dead turret is the problem. Pyosik gets a nice little kickback, but Dudu is not going to be spared from that one, and now Keen gets delivered to Dr. via Closer, who just Realm Warps his way out. He does not want anything to do with this, and honestly, I don't blame him, as this is looking very, very difficult. Genji managing to win the team fight, and they're now looking to push towards Nexus turrets.
Yeah, I think DNS thought they'd made it out of Doomed. We're down Struggle Street, turn a corner, back in Doomed.
Yeah, and Doomed is a cul-de-sac, as it turns out, and they're going to need to slow down and do a U-turn, and it's a bit of a problem, as Canyon drives Closer into a wall, and should be able to do a fair bit of damage here with the help of Chovy. He manages to take him down, as now Keen getting to work on these turrets. And Peter is going to get slammed into the wall. Well, not quite, but does still get taken down as a result. And Genji will claim game number 1 after an extraordinarily decisive early game, and especially those first couple of dives in the bottom lane.